Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever just stopped and looked at an old family photo?
Hmm.
Maybe a grandparent or someone even further back and just wondered about their life. Where did they actually come from?
Yeah. What were their lives like? The struggles, the good times.
Exactly. Or maybe you've heard those family stories, the ones passed down, and they just feel, well, a bit incomplete. Or maybe not quite right.
Oh, definitely. That feeling of wanting to connect, to really understand the paths that led to you,
Mm,
it's a powerful thing. It's really common.
it is.
And sometimes asking those questions leads you down paths where, well, the answers aren't exactly easy to find.
Right. Maybe you've even tried looking yourself. Tried tracing the family tree and just hit a wall, one of those, or frustrating dead ends.
Happens all the time.
And that's really what we're digging into today. We've been looking through material from a professional genealogy service. It's called Know Who Wears the Genes in Your Family.
Founded by Diane Henriks.
Right. And our goal here, our mission for this deep dive is to look beyond just, listing what they do.
Yeah, we want to get into how a service like this actually helps you tackle those really tough questions, those mysteries.
And maybe just as important, why does finding out about your heritage actually matter? What's the real value?
Good question.
So the source material we looked at, it introduces Diane Henriks, professional genealogist, clearly passionate about this work.
Yes, that comes through. And it highlights that their approach isn't just the traditional digging through records, which is crucial, of course.
Absolutely foundational.
But they also bring in advanced DNA analysis.
That combination sounds key, especially now.
It really is. Traditional records, they can only tell you so much, right? DNA can sometimes just bank, open up a whole new door.
Feel connections you'd never find otherwise.
Exactly. Or confirm relationships that were maybe just suspected, based on flimsy evidence in the records.
And the material, it specifically calls out their expertise in areas that often trip people up, even other pros sometimes.
Like what?
Things like descendancy research, which is tracing forward from an ancestor, not just backward from you.
Oh, right. Finding all the descendants, that can be complex.
And tackling those infamous brick walls where the paper trail just seems to evaporate.
The brick wall. Every genealogist knows that feeling. It's like
Yeah.
hitting a dead end on the map. You just can't get past it.
Yeah. And the source also mentions they specialize in unknown parentage
Mm-hmm.
and finding living relatives. These sound like cases where, like you said, DNA often becomes absolutely essential. You need it alongside the traditional stuff.
Absolutely. For unknown parentage, adoptions, finding living cousins, DNA is often the only way forward, combined with careful research, of course.
Makes sense. You need every tool in the box for those kinds of mysteries. So looking at the services they list in the material, it seems pretty comprehensive.
Covers a lot of ground.
Yeah. There's the core family history and genealogy research. That's the deep dive using historical records, censuses, vital records, all that.
The bread and butter.
Right. And then, like we were saying, genetic genealogy.
This is where they take your DNA test results,
Yeah.
from Ancestry DNA, 23andMe, places like that, and analyze the matches.
And integrate that with the paper trail research.
Exactly. It's how you might solve those unknown parentage cases or confirm if that ancestor you think is yours really is, or break through a line where records alone just weren't cutting it.
So it's way more than just getting that ethnicity pie chart back.
Oh, much more.
Okay.
It's about understanding the shared DNA, the match lists, building genetic networks, and then tying it all back to actual historical documents and family trees. It's a specific skill set.
I bet. The material also talks about services for finding people who are alive today. Heir search and living people search.
Right. That could be for legal stuff, like finding heirs for an estate.
Or just finding that cousin your grandma mentioned once, Somebody you've lost touch with or never knew.
Yeah, reconnecting families. And then specifically for those really personal quests, unknown parentage biological family research.
Which, again, uses that mix, right? Traditional records plus DNA.
Heavily relies on that combination. Yeah. Then there's something called Ancestor Deep Dive Research and Biography.
That sounds interesting. More than just names and dates.
Yeah, the material suggests it's about really putting flesh on the bones, bringing an ancestor's story to life.
How do they do that?
By pulling together all sorts of records, census, military, newspapers, land records, whatever they can find, and weaving it together with historical context, trying to understand what their life was actually like.
Okay, that makes the past feel much more real, more personal, not just a list of names.
Exactly. And for those roadblocks we mentioned, the brick walls.
Yes.
They explicitly offer genealogy brick wall research. So dedicating focused effort just on breaking through one specific tough case using, their specialized methods.
Good to know there's help for those really stuck points. What else?
Well, the material also suggests they want to empower people to do their own research too, if that's what they want.
Oh.
They mentioned family history genealogy coaching, like one-on-one guidance.
Ah, so they teach you how to fish, not just give you the fish.
Kind of, yeah. And also family history genealogy workshops for learning in small groups.
Okay. And for bigger audiences.
Genealogy presentations and speaking. But something else caught my eye in the source. Volunteer genealogy lost and found search.
Yeah, I saw that too. What did you make of it?
It sounds like, well, dedicated volunteer time, trying to help find lost relatives or maybe return old photos or heirlooms that have gotten separated from the family.
That adds a really personal touch, doesn't it? Beyond just the paid client work.
It does. Shows a real commitment to connecting families, I think.
Definitely. And finally, they offer family history and genealogy products.
Right. So taking all that research.
And turning it into something you can actually hold and share.
Exactly. Like professionally designed family tree charts, maybe narrative reports, or even bound books. Things to preserve the history.
Makes the findings tangible, something to pass down.
Yeah, it becomes a family treasure, hopefully.
Okay, so that's the Rangel services. Now, the source material also makes some claims about why you'd choose them, the benefits.
Right. What makes them stand out, according to them?
Well, they claim fast results, suggesting you're not waiting months and months or even years for answers.
Speed is definitely appealing if you've ever been stuck waiting.
And they also state their pricing is affordable. Expert research, they say, at a fraction of the cost you might find at bigger genealogy firms.
Okay, so speed and cost, that's a compelling pitch.
They also really emphasize their specialized DNA and record expertise, linking it back to tackling those tough cases we talked about, brick walls, unknown parentage.
Which ties into another point they make, personalized, focused research.
Meaning,
According to the material, it's not generic reports. Each case is custom-tailored, focused specifically on your questions, your family's challenges.
okay, that sounds good. And that personalization seems to extend to the support, too. One-on-one support.
Implying you work directly with Diane Henriks herself.
That's what it says.
That direct line of communication could be really valuable for understanding, the tricky parts of the research or what the findings actually mean.
True. And they back this up by pointing to their proven experience, almost 2 decades doing this professionally.
Plus, ongoing education, the material notes, which is important in this field.
Yeah, things change fast, don't they? New records come online, DNA tools evolve.
Constantly.
Yeah.
So that experience, combined with staying current, that's clearly something they see as a key advantage.
There's a quote in the source material from Diane Henriks that kind of sums up the whole point of this, the why.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
It's uncover the roots of your past to understand your present and gift the knowledge to generations of the future.
That's powerful.
It really is. It captures that idea perfectly, that this isn't just, collecting names for a hobby.
Right. It's about context.
Yeah.
Self-discovery, even.
And leaving a legacy, like the quote says, understanding where you come from. Lets you understand who you are now.
And it influences the story you pass down to your kids, your grandkids.
Yeah, it reframes the whole thing. It's not just looking backward.
No, it's like a process that informs your present identity and shapes how future generations see the family narrative.
So let's zoom out a bit. What's the big takeaway from looking through these materials?
Well, we've seen how professional services like this one offer pretty sophisticated tools and expertise.
That combination of old school record digging and cutting edge DNA analysis.
Right, to help you maybe break through those really difficult cases, find missing bits of your family story, maybe even connect with living relatives you never knew you had.
We looked at the specific kinds of problems they focus on, those brick walls, the unknown connections.
And how their approach, at least as described in the material, aims to address the common frustrations people hit when they try to research their past. Things like speed, cost, getting personalized help.
And ultimately, it really underlines the value the source places on uncovering your heritage.
It's not just for the sake of knowing names and dates on a chart.
No, it's about getting a deeper understanding of yourself, your own identity.
And creating that tangible link, that connection between the past, you, and the present,
Yeah.
and the generations still to come.
Which leaves us with the thought to ponder, really, based on what the source material suggests. It suggests that uncovering your past, it doesn't just tell you where you came from. It fundamentally shapes how you see yourself now and the legacy you're creating for the future.
That's a deep thought.
It is. So think about that. What hidden stories, what unexpected connections, what pieces of your own unique history might be waiting right there in your family tree?
And how might finding them actually change your perspective on things, on yourself,
Yeah.
your family? Interesting question.